Good morning, friends and soon-to-be friends. Thank you, Kevin. It's the magnificent Kevin Reams, a wonderful musician, vocalist, music director, and I've known him for about a quarter of a century now, and he is quite a wonderful human being, a loving parent and man. So thank you, Kevin. We appreciate you. And now we welcome anyone who might be visiting us for the first time here at Unity of the Seacoast for our Sunday morning service on February 13th, 2022. We are on St. Valentine's Eve Day. Hope you are all ready to be masterful lovers. That's what we do here at Unity of the Seacoast. We're all in training and being masterful lovers of one another and ourselves. So thank you. We'll begin this morning with the daily word. And today's daily word is compassionate. I am a compassionate presence. In periods of peaceful contemplation, I immerse myself in the unconditional love that joins the human family together in God. As the awareness of divine love fills my mind and heart, it dissolves all memories of difficulties and feeling of discord. Centered in divine love, I deeply feel my oneness with God and with all people. I now see the people in my life anew. Beholding the divinity of each dear one I meet, my heart overflows with empathy as I respond to their troubles and celebrate their triumphs. I am patient. I listen with intention. I recognize their divinity as I recognize my own. I welcome the flow of divine love as it blesses me as well as those with whom I'm sharing my compassion. And from the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 18, you shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. So you might be wondering why we're here, why we do this. So we'll begin this morning here with our Unity of the Seacoast mission statement. And it is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You're welcome to join me. We are a loving, nurturing community dedicated to being a positive path to spiritual living to awaken oneness with God within us all. And that's why we're here, and that's what we're aiming for. So we are, I guess, into our second year of virtual spiritual community here. And not meeting physically has eliminated some of the ways that in the past we might have served one another by being present or with food after the service or something. And if you are wondering, how can I do something? How can I be active? Spiritual community, even though virtual, doesn't have to be passive. And I'm a member of the prayer team here at Unity of the Seacoast, and one of the sources or resources for me, I don't know if this shows up backwards. No, it doesn't. Effectual Prayer by Florence W. Folks is a book that I go back to frequently. And so I've found a way to serve the community during this online experience on the first Monday of every month. I draw from that book. Florence Folks has a series of meditations in the back. And so on the first Monday of every month at 7 p.m., we do online on our Facebook Live a spiritual meditation. Usually takes 15 or 20 minutes, something like that. And I'm hearing from people that it's been very helpful to them. So that's one particular way that something that I enjoy and love has turned into a gift for the community online. Please feel free to find your gift and look for a way to share it. You can always chat with Reverend Tom or somebody else in the community. If you can't figure out a way to do something, we'd be delighted to help you. So as I mentioned, we have a prayer team here. It's composed of Unity-trained chaplains and ministers. And so each week we invite you to share your prayer requests with us. And then our team, we pray over them for 30 days. And they are also, at the end of that, sent forward to Silent Unity in Unity Village, where they are prayed over for another 30 days. So we're delighted to join you on your journey with our hearts and prayers. And if you would like to have yourself or someone you care about added to that prayer list, you can email Tom Scheinler at yahoo.com. That's our Reverend Tom, and he will get that onto the prayer list. You'll also have an opportunity later in the service, I think, to, if you wish, if you're comfortable with it, you can type in someone's name or their initials, or just use a heart emoji or something like that to express a desire for prayer. And we have a beautiful redesigned website. I'm not sure how long it's been that way, because I don't personally go to it very often, because I'm having too much fun doing this kind of stuff. But at unityoftheseacoast.org, you can find pretty much what's going on with us. We have the weekly announcements there. There's an archive of past talks if you missed something, or if there's something you'd like to go back and revisit. Then you can find those on our website, also on our Facebook page, and perhaps today you're even viewing us live on YouTube, where we will eventually soon have past talks archived as well. So we're giving you many, many ways to enjoy our spiritual community. And also on the website, there's a calendar of upcoming events. There's a tab called What is Unity that has a description of who we are, what we are, and why we're doing it also. There's a little tab with some writings of some of our members, spiritually based. There are quotes from the Unity co-founders and a few other Unity thinkers, the Fillmores. And let's see, where there. And so we've got a link to past services, and there's a magical button on that website that says donate. It gives you the opportunity, if you feel inspired, if you feel you've gained something from our services or from other aspects of what we're doing here, you can click on that button. The platform that we use is Tithely, and it seems to be very easy, safe, and secure. If you prefer to send a check to us, we appreciate that as well, and that can be sent to our new mailing address, which was recently updated, and that is Unity of the Seacoast, P.O. Box 1676, Dover, New Hampshire, 03821. And that also is running across the bottom of the screen there. There's also a link to Unity Worldwide Ministries activities. That's the overarching mothership that we are authorized to be activated under. And then in warmer weather, we have something called a walkabout, which happens usually on a Saturday morning at 10. We meet someplace in the Seacoast area. Gives us, in the COVID times, the opportunity to get out and meet in a safe outdoor environment, walking around, usually breaking off into twos or threes so that we can chat as we walk and maintain the connection, which makes it much easier to love your neighbor as yourself if you actually get to see them. So we'll be announcing that when it gets to that point. Next Sunday, we'll be having another meeting, membership meeting. We have made recently some changes to our bylaws. We added some things to keep us current with Unity Worldwide design. So please be on the lookout for an email from Bev, our board president, on that. And we encourage everyone to join us for the meeting. Even if you are not currently a member, you wouldn't be able to vote, but you're certainly welcome to join us in seeing how we do things. This week, we will have fellowship following the service, and that happens at 11 o'clock on Zoom. And that magical meeting number is also running across the screen here. And if there's anything I've forgotten, maybe Tom will squeeze it in later on. Right now, we engage in a practice called Namaste, and it's based on the Sanskrit word, Namaste, which I've seen it translated many ways. My preferred method is the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. And we greet one another by putting our hands together in front of us in prayer position. And as we bow our heads, saying Namaste. And we continue to look deeply into one another's eyes as we're doing that. If you have someone there with you, by all means, Namaste individually there. Otherwise, let's go for that one again. We can know it all together and say Namaste. Thank you. Mine's gone. And please welcome back Kevin Reams with another beautiful tune. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Your music never fails to calm me and open my heart. So thank you.
Thank you.
And now, time for the talk. Last week, Reverend Tom began a 4-part series on the spiritual laws of prosperity. Began last week with tithing. And I'm looking forward to what he has to say this week in Prosperity Part 2. Tom?
Thank you, Charlie. And Kevin, thank you so much. I always love having you on, and I'm going to lead this talk with a meditation, so that sets it up very nicely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I hope everyone got to see Charlie's meditation this week. It is on our Facebook page. We loved it. We always love it. And each time it seems to be getting more better and better. So thank you both. So good morning, everyone. I'm so thankful to be here. I had been in the hospital over the weekend and had a fear that I would be doing this from the hospital room. I had nothing really going on with me except they found an enzyme that the heart releases when it has a heart attack, which I did not have. But they wanted to see why that enzyme was in there. And they did a bunch of tests and they think they determined that it happens is that they've upgraded their testing system so it's more sensitive. So it's starting to reveal that people have these enzymes being released periodically in them, which they were not aware of, and I'm their guinea pig. So I got a free night in the hospital, sort of. Nothing's free there. But I also got to meet a wonderful doctor who I'd been having struggles with my diet because of kidney function and diabetes and all these things, that it's kind of what he did. He's a cardiac doctor, but we really tweaked stuff on a sense that made sense to me, a more natural diet. And it was worth it just to meet him and have that hour chat with him. And I know Casey got a lot out of it as well. And it's we've been incorporating that into our diet already. So I'm glad to be here, not broadcasting this from that room. So this is our second week of prosperity, and it's a 2-part. It's not a 4-part. I covered gratitude and tithing last week. And this week, we will cover forgiveness, goal setting, and divine purpose. But before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we come together in the knowledge that there is one power and one presence in the universe and in the world. God the good and great omnipresence. We come together in love and wisdom, which we know is the true face of God. I invite you each to get comfortable, to close your eyes, and to begin to notice your breath as it flows in and out at a comfortable breath, at a comfortable pace. Our breath is a link from the conscious to the subconscious. Because like our heart, our breath works on both levels. And we acknowledge that we work on 2 levels, the physical and the spiritual. And I want you to think of these thoughts as we settle in. I acknowledge that I'm a divine child of all that is. I am whole. I am healthy. I am open to the flow of all God's abundance. Abundance flows to me and from me. I am not limited in my abundance. Because I show abundance in giving. I accept abundance in receiving. I demonstrate abundance in love. I demonstrate abundance in wisdom. I am abundant in wholeness. And as I sit with my feet placed on the ground, I allow the stressors and tenseness to drop away. I feel the head around my eyes release. I move that release down to the back of my neck and my shoulders as they drop. Arms, fingers. Center of my chest relaxes. As I exhale each new breath, I release. I feel the tension drop away from my back, my abdomen, my pelvic region. Tension drops away from my thighs, from my knees, down my legs past my calves, and they ground out, leaving my body through my feet, my ankles and toes. My feet feel grounded. I am one. And I invite you to come back to me, opening your eyes, knowing that this state of grounding and oneness is always available to you. Last week we covered gratitude and tithing. This week we'll cover goal setting, forgiveness, and divine purpose. We've been using the 4 spiritual laws of prosperity by Edwin Gaines as a rough guideline. And those are the orders that Edwin Gaines has them in, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit because I think forgiveness should go before goal setting. Why forgiveness first? When we hold on to bitterness, we're restricting a flow of abundance that comes to us. Abundance operates on a positive path, as does forgiveness. Anger and bitterness are not on that same flow. We may feel justified in not forgiving, but we're blocking a flow. Receiving abundance and giving abundance is part of an open, loving heart. And forgiveness allows you to tap into that open, loving heart. Forgiveness is for you. If the other person feels the benefits from it, then that is great. That's a nice bonus, but it's for you. Forgiveness is releasing the power that something holds on to you. And I really want you to understand this. So I'd like you to say this with me. I release the power that the action or feeling hold over me. Edwene had an exercise in which she lists all the things that she needed to forgive and why she needed it. And each time she looked at that list, she found another perspective of why the person may have done what they did. Each time I've needed to forgive someone, I have found a new perspectiveness. Perhaps I saw the new perspectiveness. It was not the actual depiction, but it was one that I could move forward on. I have questions I'd like to ask people. I would have loved to ask my grandparents or parents or some siblings questions, but they've all passed. All I have is what I settle on. If what you settle on holds you back, then come up with something else or realize that their actions has nothing to do with you today. Again, it does not mean to forget. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I plan to talk more about forgiveness over the next couple months. But I want to mention a couple things. First, if you take Edwene's advice and you create a list, I want you to write beyond that list, what have you gained from not forgiving each person? You'll find most likely you've gained negativity and resentment. I want you to understand there's also some things in life that forgiveness is far beyond what I can cover in this talk or maybe any talk. If you have that, please do the work. Do the work that you need to do. If you need to get help for this, then get help, but reclaim what is yours. But the second reason I think that forgiveness comes before goal setting is you need to forgive yourself for limiting beliefs about yourself. How can you set goals if you believe that you are not worth them? If you believe that you cannot accomplish them? We each have had thoughts that limit us in one way or another. We've internalized a limit that someone else has given us. It's a human reaction. We've all done it. It's also a false belief. I was told I was a kidney patient. My life would be limited. It's been 40 years since I was first heard that. My list of accomplishment grows every day. We need to understand that the universe is for you and for your dreams. It holds nothing back from you. The only thing it holds back is what you allow it to. You are an abundant child of God. You are not chosen over another, and nobody is chosen over you. Your individual abundance is yours for the taking. And I believe that for me and for you, heart and soul. There's a saying that God works in mysterious ways. And for the most part, I don't buy it. I think God is exact in principle. But it's the avenues and the paths that it comes to us that are mysterious. Last summer I spent riding my motorcycle. It was great. But it was not 100% fulfilling because Casey was not part of it. I kept thinking of ways that she could have a similar experience, that we can enjoy it together. I thought of renting a three-wheel motorcycle for a week or so, but she didn't seem keen on that idea. And then I thought, well, maybe if I can find a small convertible that we can take out together. I didn't know how I was going to pull it off, but I focused on it. My son's fiance's father was going to sell his 1964 Corvair convertible. And I asked my son to check on how much he wanted to sell it for. And my son did, and he called me back. He said he wants to give it to you. He had hit the front end and was thinking that you could fix it and he would know it went to a good home and perhaps that he could drive it again in the future. We got it, and I realized it needed a little bit more work than I had thought about it. It kind of needed a whole new body. The whole body on that's welded together, and it's an immense job if I was to take it apart. But I began looking online, and I found out it was running about $3,000, and the nearest one was in Wisconsin. And then one morning I checked again, and the guy had put one up in Lebanon, New Hampshire. It was exactly what I needed. It was $300, and all he wanted beyond that was a picture of it when it was done. So I believe in unlimited possibilities, and I focus on this stuff, and it comes. Unlimited possibilities arrive for us always, because God works in exacts. I just don't know what direction, nor do I need to know what direction it comes from. I fully believe that we are not limited by anything. I hope you understand that this is the same for you, that you are a recipient of unlimited possibilities. So before you goal set, I want you to forgive yourself for any limitations you have put on your life or any that you have accepted for yourself. You can't outthink God. As many ways as your old self has thought things were not meant for you, God has created tenfold amount of reasons why things are for you. If you don't believe it, I have an organ from another human living in my body. Tell me how abundance doesn't happen. Can you imagine that thought for almost all of humanity? If you thought that you could take a body part from one and put it in another, you'd be considered nuts. Yet that thought persisted, and now it happens 37,000 times a year in our country alone. Heck, not long before that, the idea of world travel for most of human history was not available to us. People were nomads. They just walked from here to here to here. Many people never even left their own town. Many people have never left their state. Now we don't even have to go. The idea that we can talk around the world face-to-face electronically. And that was a fantasy. Now almost everyone carries around that ability in their pocket. Abundance is always happening, and we are always receiving it. You have to get used to casting aside your limitations. Become comfortable with the unlimited beliefs. You have to be open to possibilities. Then you have to start attaching yourself to those possibilities as if they're a part of your being. Because dreams and desires are part of your being. They emanate from you and from God mind, where all is created. They are created for you, by you. As humans, we have this will not to believe. I'm not sure how it developed. It was a self-defense emotion against protecting us from fear taking over. But this will not to believe would show up when bad news came or we are in danger. And then we deny it until we really have to face it. But we also have this will not to believe that we are unlimited. Sometimes we deny the good and great things that are meant for us. I can't do it because of this or that. We rationalize ideas away because they cost too much. Or we feel that those things are not for us, they're for others. And it takes effort to change this mindset. But really, why not you? Goal setting. When I first began thinking about prosperity, I remember telling Casey I was going to win the Powerball, and I would give her half. I won it 4 weeks in a row. Impressed? Now, the only number I actually got was the actual Powerball number that paid $4. But true to my word, I gave her half, and she was not impressed either. But I had gotten exactly what I asked for. My minister told me I wasn't being exact enough. And I've played since, but I've had not the same conviction. I think because the amount still does not seem real to me. But when it was small, I could wrap my head around that with confidence. Confidence is the key. You have to see your dreams as if they were real, as if they were already yours. And you need to be specific when you can. There's a unity joke about a lady. She's a single lady and all her friends are married. But she wanted a husband too. So she kept asking God for a husband. She prayed. She affirmed. She did everything that she thought she was supposed to. Yet she remained disappointed in the results. She asked her minister, said, "Give, I'm loving. All I'm asking for is a husband. And all the men that I seem to meet are married." And the minister said, "You're doing it all right. You asked for a husband, and that's what you get. Try asking for a single man whom you could build a relationship with and marry." Write down what you want out of life. Allow yourself to dream. Picture it. Picture it as if it has already happened. I had a picture of my motorcycle on my backdrop long before I had ever bought it. Distance yourself from the naysayers. We all have them, the people who want to inject a little reality into the situation. It's not their job to limit your dreams or possibilities. They've chosen to limit theirs. Don't let them share that with you. Practice dreaming every day. Do it for a month. Edwin says 21 days. A month for me was easier to keep track of. But at the end of the month, when you've really settled into the idea that your desires are yours, then begin to take the steps and prepare. Principle 5. You should know this by heart. I say it every week. It's not enough to know. We must do the work. Begin to take the steps towards your desires. Part of that is also casting off what you don't want. You know, Casey wanted a new career change. The first thing she did is she removed all the things in her work office that connected her to her job. She took out photos, plants, and any personal belongings. When I wanted a career change from a company, I removed from my work truck anything except what I would use that day. When it was time, I was out in 10 minutes. Same with Casey. She left with a better package deal than she had dreamed about. I left knowing I had created a way and time for me to take my ministry classes. If you want a new car, then remove your personal belongings from your current car. Be ready for change. If it's new clothes, then begin by clearing out some of your old clothes. Make room for the new, whatever. But give it a home before you even have it. There's always a step to take. My son knew he was going to Ireland long before he had made the plan. He told me he would go. His career would take off. He would meet the girl of his dreams. He saw it. He told me, and he planned, and it happened. Within weeks, he had reached out to college, and they offered him an artist in residence. He won Ireland's best spoken word poet. He performed all over Europe, and he met his fiancée, an American living in Ireland who was getting her PhD. She was from Portland, Maine, about a half mile from where he had been living when he made that phone call when he told me he decided to move to Ireland. Now, here's the tricky part. You have to be realistic. I did not say limited. I said realistic. The first step in realism is not thinking that things are magic, that you can wish and it is so. It takes the steps. It takes all the steps. It takes gratitude. It takes tithing and giving of yourself with an open heart. It takes forgiveness and goal setting. It takes doing the work and taking the steps on the path in any way that you can. When you negotiate away the steps, you also negotiate away the results. But realism is understanding what is possible. If you want to lose 100 pounds, well, understand it takes time. Do not set a goal for a week. If you want to be a chef, understand that you better learn to cook. But understanding, take the steps on your path toward that part of your desire. Buy a recipe book or a cutting board or a new mixer. Watch videos. The internet is full of any type of video on how do you accomplish any dream. You can find out how to do anything online now. Owning my guitar was only part of the desire. I wanted to play it. I practiced 3 hours a day, and I still practice a lot. If I cannot learn a song, I look for lessons online. I look for the chords to that song. And I look up video clips of the actual person playing to see what I can learn from them. Each desire takes steps or something on your part to make it happen. It takes belief. It takes action. Each step you take is an affirmation of your desire. I went to so many dealerships before I was ready to buy my bike. I knew exactly how much I had and exactly how much I wanted to spend, what I wanted my monthly payments to be. I knew the right fit was out there for me. The dealerships, for the most part, only knew what they wanted to sell me. So I was always happy to get up and leave. Until one guy in Lebanon called up and asked, "Tom, what do you want?" I gave him my price and what I was willing to spend each month. So I thought maybe I'd get a used one. But he said he would work on it. And sure enough, he did. I got exactly the one that I wanted at the price that I wanted. And oddly enough, it was the very first bike that I had put up on my computer backdrop months ago. If it's a new car, then go see it. Sit behind the wheel. Get used to being in that car. If it's a new house, then start looking. Set a goal. Casey and I had set a goal that we wanted to spend less on rent than we were paying at our apartment in Barrington. So we went out looking. We made it a point that we refused to pay more. We found the house that we settled on the first day. It was $300 less a month. But not only that, that realtor became her mentor when she decided on a real estate career. Abundance happens. We don't see the direction, but it's there. And there's always ways of preparing and taking steps. Sometimes those steps are prayers or affirmations or denials. Sometimes it's sitting in the silence. Sometimes your desire isn't clear to you. I've felt the need to change, but not known what the change is. So I've prayed for clarity. There's nothing wrong with not knowing. Take the time to drop a little Sabbath in there and let God do the work. Accept that you don't have the answer yet, but you are open to it flowing towards you. If you're at a new job today, would it be unreasonable that you don't have all the answers? Or perhaps you don't know where to begin? Would it be wise to ask the person in charge for a starting point, to ask for direction? It's okay to do the same with God. You may not know the new career choice that you want to take. You may not know you need a change in some aspect of your life. You may not know that you want to go on vacation, but perhaps you want to ask for clarity. Maybe out there's a friend who was hoping for a trip too somewhere. And by you verbalizing your trip, it inspires something in them. Hey, I want to go too. Let's find a place. Does that sound far-fetched? Well, a few years back, again, Casey and I had planned to go to Ireland. Yet I had my heart surgery. She told her friend Barbara that I could not go because the walking would be too much for me at this point. Barbara, as it turned out, always wanted to go to Ireland, but her husband had a business and could not take the time away from his business. And she had some time off from work at the same time that Casey had. They set the day, they went and had a great trip. They didn't wait for reasons why they could not go. And if they had, they would not have been able to go because 2 weeks after they came back, the COVID travel restrictions set in. But it comes to you. And I use this affirmation all the time. This or something better. Thus far, it's always been something better. Sometimes it's the same situation, but it becomes better and it adjusts to fit. And then there's divine purpose. So, okay, Tom, what does divine purpose have to do with any of this? To begin with, it takes faith and commitment. You have to believe in all this for it to work. Everything we talk about here on any given Sunday, we are talking about faith. Faith in that there is a higher power and that we are working with it. It's a thread in all we talk of. You see it in everything. And at the same time, it's hard to see. You don't always see the principles, but maybe you see a red flower in the garden and you don't see the principles that makes it happen. But you have faith that when you turn away and look back at that flower, all those principles will come in line and you will see it again. We must understand that we are divine beings living on a physical plane. And if we can accept this, then we can accept that we work on a divine level. And all the principles that govern that work with divine order work with us and within us. Does that make sense to you? I always say, what is life? Life is to use freedom of choice to co-create the best life for you and for the benefit of others and our world. A life grounded in wholeness, love, empathy, compassion, and wisdom. To become interactive in our evolution and to live in as many moments as possible. How you do it is up to you. Do you see limited possibilities in this, or do you see unlimited possibilities? Do you see divine purpose in that statement? Do you see working with God in this? This is you in your Christ-like nature. It's our most natural state. It's the image of God working within us and through us. And in all that, all we desire to create for ourselves comes true. In this, do you understand that it's God's great pleasure to give us the kingdom? When we work within this structure, we are demonstrating our commitment to our divine. Because our divine purpose is living in what is best for us, not at the expense of others or our planet or ourselves, but living what is best. And in being in tune with this, we can accept our desires. We can accept that we are worth our dreams. So our dreams are a form of self-love. When we are in tune with our divine purpose, we're also in tune to knowing what is not right for us. Sometimes we have ideas that is right for us, but they may not be. What if you're deciding on a career change, but you realize the idea of that change, the new career, was not what you imagined? Perhaps it takes you away from your family too much, and you would not like that. Yet sometimes maybe just the timing is not right. Be open to those possibilities as well. Adrienne calls that being aware of the stop signal. We all have those moments where we see something, but the reality of it wasn't meant for us. So take the time for the engagement period before you marry to the idea. Take time to find enjoyment in the process, because the process is most of what life is. Our lives are living in a process. So live in those moments. If they're real to you, then you can honestly understand what fits for you. There is reward in the path. So what's the good news of all this? Prosperity is there for each of us. All these steps we can all take. Gratitude, tithing, forgiveness, goal setting, and divine purpose. And each one stands on its own and is attainable. And collectively, they are a powerful force for you. Again, you can negotiate the reasons to do any of them, but understand you then again negotiate away the results. The other good news is that Jesus told us this in Luke chapter 6, verse 37 to 38. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down and shaken together, running over, will be put on your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure that you get back. I'd like to take this time now to turn to a prayer for others. If you're listening on Facebook and YouTube and you feel comfortable, just type their names in the comment box, or if that's still too uncomfortable for you, then maybe their initials or a heart emoji. But we hold these people in thoughts of wholeness, light, and love. We affirm their wholeness and health. And I suggest, if you can, reach out to them this week and tell them that you've prayed for them. Tell them you care. For the fastest way to have a prayer land is to contact that person and show them love. Next week, I'll be doing a talk on healing. So I hope you join me for that. There's another prayer that we do. It's the affirmation of tithes and offerings. So if you place your hand over your heart and repeat this with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I receive. And so it is. And I would like to close out this service with the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Amen.